I find myself in a peculiar dilemma this morning because I have a fixed custom of not intervening in the elections of other bodies. But I understand that there's no election today, so I'm told. This is the time to correct me. If you have something to say, tell me. But since I understand that there is an election, but there is a consensus candidate, and that's Ronald Lauder, then I have to say, he's my consensus candidate too. And we have a long friendship over many years. And it's a friendship that's born from common experiences and common values. I think Ronald had a fascinating odyssey of discovering more and more his Jewish roots and using his public office in various capacities to deepen those roots and to act on behalf of the Jewish people in the state of Israel. I think his behavior, his action as ambassador to Austria was exemplary. His efforts to sustain Jewish culture, Jewish education, Jewish awareness in Eastern and Central Europe in the last 2 decades are exemplary, and the work that he is now doing here is and will be exemplary. So I'm very happy that, well, you have my vote. I wish we could do this on the other side too, but we don't. We have a great job to do, all of us, you and us, because the plague of anti-Semitism is very much with us, and it appears that after a hiatus of about half a century following the Holocaust, the normal condition of a Europe in particular, a European world that is plagued by anti-Semitism is ravaged by it almost as a perennial disease, a millennial disease. It just keeps going on and on and on. That appears to be the case. But I'm not sure that that's a precise diagnosis of what we're seeing before us today. Because I think the anti-Semitism of today is primarily driven by Islamic fundamentalism. It is driven by a fierce religious fanaticism. And it is something that is obviously directed at eradicating the Jewish state, but ultimately it is directed against every Jewish community anywhere in the world. It is a mentality that seeks to wage holy war against infidels, and the first infidels are the Jews. We're not the only infidels, but we're the first. And therefore, I'm not sure that we can equate it to the kind of anti-Semitism that we've seen before. All those strains of classic European anti-Semitism still appear, they're still there, and they make strange bedfellows with militant Islamic anti-Semitism. The question we have to ask is, what should we do about it? Well, I'm very much a student of Herzl. I'm a Herzlian. And Herzl was faced with a problem of anti-Semitism. The first place that he turned to were his own people, the Jews. And the first place that we need to turn to are our own people, the Jews. We have to strengthen them against these attacks. We have to embolden them to stand up with pride, and we have to arm them with the argumentation and passion to fight against those who would wipe us away. I think it's very important to fight the smears and the slanders which often now are focused on the state of Israel, as in the previous conflict we've just emerged from. But it's very important to turn first to the Jews. This was the first Herzlian act. But the second was to seek alliances. In this case, alliances for Zionism. In his case, alliances for Zionism. In our case, alliances against the creed of hate that is sweeping the world. We cannot fight anti-Semitism on a world scale, on a global scale, unless we also harness the non-Jewish forces who oppose anti-Semitism. And there are plenty of those. They oppose it either because they oppose it in principle, in their values, in their core beliefs, or they oppose it because they understand that it will also harm their interest, attack their values, attack their societies. In a practical way, we are allies in a common battle. All people need alliances. All nations need alliances. Even a great nation like the United States needs alliances. Russia, China, India, they all need alliances. But if you're a smaller nation, if you're a small people, you need alliances without question. Ala khat kama v'chama. So in this battle against anti-Semitism, we must form alliances. And the natural allies that we have are those who are attacked by militant Islam as well. Start with those. There are many, many communities. There are communities of Christians of all denominations throughout the Middle East and beyond that are attacked. There are Muslims who are attacked. And we should harness them too, the moderate forces in the Islamic world, in the Christian world. In the secular world, secular values are under attack. Religious values are under attack. Other religions are under attack. And secularism and moderation, the whole concept of modernity, is under attack. And as in other attacks on the Jews, the anti-Semitic fire begins with the Jews but then spreads to a broader conflagration. And this is exactly the problem that we face today. We face an anti-Semitic fire that is seemingly directed at the Jews and the Jewish state, but if unopposed, will spread and consume the entire world. So we have to direct our efforts at creating this broad alliance against anti-Semitism and the creed of hatred. And this must be, I think, Ronald, if I can suggest it, something that the State of Israel and you, all of you, and many other organizations should work together, because I think we face a great challenge. Now, in the ultimate battle between militant Islam and modernity, militant Islam will lose. I'm confident about that. I have no doubt whatsoever that in the coming decades, this medieval, even pre-medieval culture of hate will subside and be won, or rather be defeated, by the spread of freedom, the freedom of information, the freedom of thought, economic freedom, and other freedoms. They will win the day. But the question we have today is not whether we will win this battle ultimately, but what price mankind will pay, and especially what price the Jewish people will pay until that defeat is assured. We've had the experience in the last century of a creed that seemed to dominate bigger and bigger parts of the world, and it threatened the future of mankind, and it was defeated by the forces of freedom. But we know what price, what horrible price, it exacted from mankind, and especially the ultimate price from our people. We cannot let that happen again. What we must do today is form this grand alliance against anti-Semitism and the creed of hatred. We have to do it throughout the world. The United States, Europe, Asia, everyone is affected. Everyone is a potential target, and everyone is a potential ally. And what we must do is create that alliance. And I stand to work with you, Ronald. If elected, and we'll find out in a few days, you'll find out today. But if elected, I will work with you and with all of you for achieving this objective. We have to have fanaticism defeated. We have to have anti-Semitism defeated. The sooner, the better, for us, the Jewish people, and the Jewish state, but for the entire world. Thank you very much. Toda rabah.